lot of people don't know the Mayans invented hip hop.
I think that's true.
How was traffic?
Yeah.
Traffic was good, I don't drive.
Even better.
It's great as a passenger.
West Coast boys, you're still live from apartment 4B. Mero, use that sexy accent and tell us who's in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have today the incomparable actor Yara Shahidi in the house.
Right.
Make some
I
noise,
like
you know what I'm saying?
accent.
You know what I'm saying?
It makes everything sound so
Yeah.
better.
I know.
Like if a debt collector called you with that accent, you wouldn't be mad.
You'd be
I'd be like, bet.
we could talk for a little while. I'm not just gonna bang it on you. Like, let's
Yo,
chat.
so exactly how did I incur this debt? Like, tell me on the date. Like, you know, what's going on, yo? You got a girlfriend? Like, how are you doing, Yara?
I'm good, I'm really good. We're wrapping up Grownish and life is good.
How does it feel? Because you've been growing up in front of the camera forever. So does this feel just like an extension of growing up in front of the camera, or do you feel like this specific character is just like?
I mean, it felt like I've played Zoey Johnson for what, 7, going on 8 years? And so it feels like I do have a parallel personality that I have grown up with in so many ways. And like she's in her senior year, I'm going into my senior year of school. And so it's been nice to actually have an audience that cares enough about what we're doing to be able to watch her journey and enjoy it. And at the same time, I very much feel like Zoey Johnson is like what not to do. It was a great exercise as a teenager because you get out everything, like every stereotypically teenage thing. And I just go back to being my little square.
Little squid.
What? Give us an example of stereotypical teenage things you were able to get out.
Well, I guess maybe not stereotypical teenage thing, but she was addicted to Adderall by episode 2 of the show. So
See, that just
there was a
shows-
lot she had to move through.
See, we're what you call wash, because I'm like, a typical teenage thing? Like,
Yeah,
Right.
she's making
like somebody picked up the phone while she was on the internet,
Yeah,
like
like-
that. Like,
she got like,
Not
she forgot
dial-up.
her Facebook password. But no, yo, that's the real. That's
Yeah, so I mean, she's gone through some struggles, but I like the fact that she can fail and people are there for her failures. People are there when she gets her act together.
and that's the thing about the show. It's like it's one of those rare shows where it's like you're talking about stuff, but it's like it's still funny. Because it's not like, you know what I mean? Like was like Kid and Ivory popping up like message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's not over the top preachy. Like,
Right, I mean, that was important to us too, especially because, I mean, as even an audience member, it was like, well, what do we want to watch? And we're talking about college, which is an experience that I feel like oftentimes it feels so inaccessible that it was like, if we can just make this feel as real as possible or make it feel as just human-driven as possible, then it just gives us a taste of what college is actually like.
what do people say when they see you in public? Do they name yo characters' names, or do they yo your actual name?
I mean, it changed over time. When I first started Blackish, it was Zoey all the way.
Right.
Zoey Johnson, Blackish Kid.
Black shit.
Whoa!
That's you.
Yo, if I'm at the airport and someone's like, that's the Blackish kid. Like,
Yo,
no,
what
I'm calling Al Sharpton. Like, no.
You do the juice give me like, what do you mean by that?
Exactly.
Excuse you? It was like, are you on the blacklist? Because it was also when Blackfish came out, like just a very convoluted era.
Like, yo, Black Swan!
Right. No, over time, it's gone from that to Yara Shahidi to like, how do you know my middle name? But it's been, everyone's so nice. That
And it feels like they're all supporting you.
all very
good.
supportive.
It's not like, yo, you owe me $20.
Right.
Bozo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
Speaking of Cash Money, you looking like money. Because you got the Adidas drip going on.
Thank
You got the Adidas deal, you know what I'm saying, situation. You know what I'm saying? You about to pop out with a signature shoe? Talk about it.
I have. I lotioned for this too.
Hey, we appreciate you.
I was so ashy before I got here.
We just flew in from New York, so you know we're terrified of being ashy.
I think I lotion twice a day in the morning.
That's important. How important is because that's you're always working on activism, and I don't see a lot of activism about ashiness in the Black community.
That's
it's
true.
prevalent. It's destroying the
Can we
Black
talk about
family.
it? Can we talk about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we need
to grow as a people? Like,
I mean,
is it just hydration?
as
Is it
somebody
drinking
that
more water?
is ashy, I don't know if I'm necessarily in a space, if I'm settled enough in being moisturized to give advice, but I do have to say it's funny working with brands. They'll do a lot for Black History Month.
Right.
And there have been times where people are like, oh, we want to promo this moisturizer. I was like, now how do you want me to do that for Black History Month?
Yeah. Sometimes they just walk right into it. And you're like, yo,
listen, yo, do you see what's like?
What am I supposed to say
they're
about
like, all right,
it?
so we'll have a hologram MLK save. Girl, you ashy. And it's like,
So picture this, Yara, okay? You're getting on the bus, right? You're gonna sit in the front, but you can't because it says non-ashy only, right? Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Guys?
while we jest, somebody right now is just ripping the paper up like, fuck.
Damn, they already roasted it.
At least I got like 8 months to think of a new one. No, but seriously, you've done a lot of great work with activism and stuff. Where is your passion for that come from? Because sometimes we see people in like Hollywood and they don't have to. Like you don't have to think about that at all. Like if you want, you can
just live your life. You know what I'm
chill.
saying?
You can be like eating ostrich eggs every day if you wanted.
You know what? I'm gonna just chill and get some bubble tea and play PlayStation. I ain't never gonna say shit. I'm not doing nothing. But you use your platform for good.
Yeah, thank you. It came from my family, really. I mean, I come from like a very socially engaged family, and so it was a conversation since I was little about like what it means to be of a community and to be of support. And I come from a family of educators. My grandfather is somebody very active in his community and in the civil rights movement at large, and so I think a lot of it came from just what I was surrounded by, and so when Blackish came, you know, to be on a show that's already talking about so many of these topics, I don't know in what other situation they would have given a 14-year-old a mic to be like, what do you think of the state of America? But because it was like something the show was covering and then something we were discussing, when they handed me the mic, I was ready. And so I feel like a lot of it was just like, how can I make the most of this platform? And I'm of the deep belief that Hollywood does not exist. And so I feel like with that, if we're gonna be in this imaginary world, how can we make it have a real impact? And I think so many times we're put in these moments where there's such a heightened contrast between what's happening in entertainment and what's happening in the world, where I swear people that plan major events have like a list of world catastrophes and are like, okay, we're planning the Oscars around this crisis. And so you have to figure out how are you gonna merge the two, otherwise it just feels so irrelevant to be in these spaces.
Yo, you just turned 21. If you would have asked me that same question at 21, I would have been like, yo, son, like, you got 5 minutes blunt. I don't know what you're talking about.
What world events? Like the Yankees playing?
Yo, the World Series event? What is going on? And that gives me hope for the future because I feel like people are becoming more civically and politically engaged at a younger age. You know what I mean? Like I said, like when we were 21, we were just like outside.
Yeah.
You know
but
what I mean?
It was also just so inaccessible. I think that's the one thing about social media. So many of my peers, we have access to this education that even if you're not getting it in school or in these other platforms, there's so many other ways. And so I think just having that access to information changed so much for us as a generation to be able to figure out what we care about and understand how we have sway over it. Because I think it's like, as somebody that's been into voting work for years, I know the news intentionally makes things sound convoluted, but it makes sure that there's certain people that never get into the conversation.
Got you. Now listen, do you now you have a relative by the name of Nasir.
I do.
Now here's the problem.
What's the problem? There's a problem.
Yeah, this is the problem.
Okay.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Washed people like me, you know, we represent the washed generation.
Yes.
We might become, I think the term might be overexcited.
Yes.
Okay.
Too erratic. Yes. Like you know, just want to talk about it all day.
Sweaty.
I was getting ready to run. I didn't know what the problem was.
We'll find. Oh, she's ready. Like we'll get you in the corner. Just want to ask you a question. So like, let me ask you on like.
Yo, did he ever change a diaper? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how was it like?
You ever help him with the lyrics?
Like, yo, did you ever write for him? Like,
I have to take. I was not born yet, but I think my presence is what spawned Illmatic. Like I think he knew I was coming and was like,
thank you so much.
Of course, anytime.
You changed your course to hip-hop. Thank you so much. Yara Shahidi changed your course to hip-hop, y'all.
That right here, you learned that. All right.
If she was not here, you wouldn't have Illmatic.
No, but I mean,
she ushered in the golden age.
Talk about it. We got to talk about it. It's time to have a conversation.
We're gonna get jumped when we get back to New York.
Oh my God!
They were like, "What y'all was talking about in LA?" I was like, "No, that was a weed, bro. Like, it's been a long day, a lot of drinking. Like, we didn't mean to disrespect, bro." They're gonna stop us at border control.
Yo, can we get some like, you know what I'm saying, like some like, you know, like some drip, like I don't know, like.
Wow, see, I didn't know. I thought he was gonna ask you to rap.
Oh,
he did that.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that is very.
The way
like,
you did it, that was like very.
Can you kick a little something? And then I start beatboxing.
Like,
I feel like if you ask for people for if you ask people for shit on camera, they're more pressed to be like, yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm like, yo, can you,
But it can also make you look bad.
It also makes me look bad. You know what I'm saying?
But it's a trade-off. I mean, high risk, high reward.
You know what I'm
right?
saying?
So are you saying in the future we should ask for more stuff on camera?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's how I ask for all my things on camera.
Good to know. Good to know.
Just have
You
evidence.
created a monster.
You know what I'm saying?
But
We're in the next
though,
Adidas campaign.
I was coming with shoes for you.
Oh,
But the shoes are not here, so the shoes will get to you tomorrow.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
But yes, my big cousin is very cool. We're down the street from his restaurant right now.
Oh, nice.
Sweet Chick. But yeah, I think in so many ways, like he's the reason that I'm at Harvard, because I didn't think that space was going to be accessible for me. But you know, he introduced me to the hip hop archive and all of that when I was really young, and that was the first time I was like, oh, this is a possibility in my world. And so in so many ways, I feel like it's some of the ways he's influenced like myself and my family seem so random, because of course, like, you know him as an artist and just an incredible human being, but the way in which he talks about investment and all these other things, like it's just really special to grow up with a family like this.
Absolutely.
Like, bro, he's like the cool, smart uncle that also is a rap legend. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's kind of wild.
Listen, there were a lot of other rappers it could have been.
You know what I'm saying? It could have been, you know what I'm saying? It could have been Tim Dog or
What did Tim Dog do?
Like,
I was trying not to name anyone particular. I was being.
I know, I had to stop myself from naming folks.
Yeah, because there's a couple of names that you like.
Ooh,
That was an awkward reunion. Like, hey, uncle. Hey, I see that SoundCloud link. Ooh, you keep at it. You keep at it. Yeah, that's right. 89 flow. That's what the streets want.
Yeah.
That's what the streets want.
It's the 80s, baby.
Listen,
We're bringing it back.
You know,
But when I was younger, I mean, like, I knew all of his music, but I didn't know growing up in LA, like, how much people just absolutely loved his music. So I remember when somebody would say something about, oh, I was listening to the album, I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
yo,
we appreciate that. I mean, I never underestimated just like how impactful he was, but it wasn't until I think just getting a little older to realize like, oh, but everyone knew about this before I was around.
Yeah, like you know, he's in everybody's top 5. You know what I mean?
Like when Distant Relatives came out with Damian Marley, I remember like showing all my friends like, hey, you really need to get on this. Like, it's really important.
It's funny because even like on Twitter, like every day people just like, yo, who won against Jay-Z or Nas? I'm like, yo, we just discussed this last week, bro.
This is 48 years ago.
Like, stop it. Like, I'm embarrassed at this point. People are like, well, actually, a thread. And you're like, oh, come on.
This is why I'm off of Twitter.
Like 1 of 48. Like,
See, the youth is much smarter now.
that's why you at Harvard. You're smart.
Once I saw a thread, oh no.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
cool.
do a deep breath when you see a thread. You're like, oh, that's just something you want to read about. If it's something like, something, you're like, yo, here's the problem. These are what I don't like about Nas lyrics. A thread, you're like,
There we go. Okay.
DESUS MERO is good, but. What's it like being in Harvard? Do you ever just like be like, yo, seriously? Like just looking around? Or is it like, yo, I did this?
It's cool. I mean, I think having that entry point of literally the hip hop archive being my first ever touch point made all the difference, because I was first introduced to people writing their masters and writing these like entire papers on the impact of Nas, on the impact of like the importance of our culture. And so I think it was so different than coming in feeling like you know of this institution and how hard it is to get in. But one of my first classes I took was actually with Ninth Wonder, and like it was just an incredible. So I think those things made it incredible. Like I have taken a class every year with Professor Cornel West, and like he is why I am there in terms of just continuously giving me the energy to want to do this work. But I love it because I feel like it gives my life balance of just being able to go be a nerd and be unabashedly a nerd and dive into that and then come back and do the work. And it also makes me figure out like how to do the work better. You know, having time to just actually analytically look at like, well, what's the impact of what I'm doing? What's the next step of what I'm doing? It gives me that space to figure it out so that when I'm back here, I can actually kind of continue to move with purpose.
Ooh, not wasting no time. You know what I'm saying? Not wasting no time. Get right to it.
Is education something you enjoy?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm such a nerd. Like I genuinely loved all school my entire life. I've always been that person that I think I had like the biography of Napoleon Bonaparte in my bag when I was little. And then my parents really created like a supplementary curricula, because being Black and Iranian, that's not something you always hear about in school in terms of like our own heritage.
Right.
And so much of why I liked school is because going home I had things that I related to. So school felt like it was actually in relationship with me versus just happening to me. And I think that is why I am such unabashedly a nerd. And yeah, I think that's why even when we started Grownish, they knew from day one, like, hey, I'm going to school though, guys. And we had a team that was willing to make it work, because ever since Blackish, they saw me preparing for every big test on set.
Right.
Like, they saw every step of the process.
But I want to ask you this question. I am a blank nerd. What subject is the one that you just tear up and dive into?
Is it a mix of everything, or is there one thing that stands out more than the other?
Okay. Like, I have a couple things. I'm a James Baldwin nerd, because I love James Baldwin. What else am I a nerd in? I took an Old English class recently, and that was really, you want to hear Old English? It says like, to say like the king said, which I don't know why you'd ever have to say that, but if you did, you'd say like, "Se kuninga quiet," which sounds like, I don't know, a different
that sounds
language.
like something, if you said that to me on the train, I'll fight
I'm like,
you.
yo, fam, hold up.
What?
Hold up.
But
Google Translate, what does that mean? Did he just call me a slur in Albanian?
It's a dead language,
It's a dead
too.
language.
I have no clue why I did that.
They use the F as an S?
So I'm a learning for the sake of learning nerd. Of like
That is
too
impressive.
many,
Shout out to
too
you.
many random facts, and
That
that
is-
means like me trying to find my career path has been such a struggle, because I choose 10 different things every single day. Where like for a long time I was trying to workshop like, how can I be in studios, because I love watching people make music without being creepy. I was like, what gets me into the studio as somebody that can't make music?
Right.
And so I had like so many, like, could I come with a package deal? Like Yara comes with Studio 8 time. Like she's just in the studio. Like, so I mean, me just continuing to learn, I just feel like every time I come up with a new hobby or interest, I'm like, well, now what am I gonna do with this?
Listen, these are good problems to have.
Yes.
And you seem well suited to handle these problems.
Thank you.
Listen, you're very down to earth. You like learning.
For real.
Listen, that's a good combination right there. We feel like proud uncles.
Like, yo, see, we at the baby shower?
Yeah.
Like, see,
I told you.
I told you, y'all was gonna make it.
Bro, I told you 10 years about that. I told you I was coming.
You seen the vision. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. You seen the vision, man. You seen it. We knew ever since you were born. We knew it was gonna be good.
That's it. Nothing but illustrious guests. We're having so much fun here, but we gotta wrap it up. Everyone that comes on our show gets a neon sign. What would you like a neon sign to say?
I mean, what reminder do I need right now? I need a reminder to not stub my toes, because I do that a lot.
Wow. Don't stub your toe. But you know what? That's also a metaphor. That means, yo, do not allow small obstacles to hinder your progress as you move forward.
And that's why I want it as my neon sign. It just means so much.
There you double on top.
Don't even ask how.
Don't even
Yara
ask
Shahidi, y'all. Make some motherfucking noise.
Listen, don't stub your toe.
Keep moving forward, y'all.
You know the vibe.
I'm saying, you know what it is.
Yo, welcome to the DESUS MERO YouTube channel.
That's right, you know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, you know what I mean?
That's right, we got a lot of digital content in here to keep you up in between our shows. So be sure to like, subscribe, and, you know, click watch another video. We out.
Hit all the buttons. Watch mad videos.